Okay, looking at the presidential race, Ken Salazar was named to Hillary Clinton's transition team, leading many to predict he may have a place in her cabinet if she is elected. Meanwhile, U.S. Senator Cory Gardner told an El Paso County audience this week that he intends to vote a Republican ticket, including for Donald Trump. Patty, I don't know what to start with here, whether it's Gardner or Salazar. Let's start with Salazar, but take your pick. What do you think would be in store for him if Hillary is victorious in November?
Well, Salazar's been talked a lot about. At one point, he was floated as a possible vice presidential candidate, bringing in the Latino vote. Now it doesn't look like Hillary's going to lose much of the Latino vote, given Trump. So he has been a good organizer in different places. I think he will do a good job on this. My guess is he's been working on it behind the scenes for some time. And we will certainly see a Coloradan on the cabinet if Hillary is elected. But it might very well be Mark Udall for Interior or Bill Ritter. I mean, both, Udall spent a lot of time in D.C. Bill Ritter, who might be the only person who actually left elected office because he wanted to spend more time with his family. His kids are now out of high school. I think they're almost all out of college, and he might be a good fit for the Department of Energy. So if Hillary is elected, we'll probably see a Coloradan on the cabinet. Might not be Salazar. But meanwhile, for Republicans who want to help their party, the down-ticket people, but don't want to stand with Trump, it's such a tricky thing. We saw what Kaufman did last week, and now Gardner has kind of given a guarded response saying he will vote Republican, but that doesn't mean he's endorsing Trump.
David, what do you think? If you're a sitting U.S. Senator who calls the presidential nominee of your party a buffoon and then later say you will vote for him, is that an endorsement?
I suppose, relatively speaking, because the candidate on the other side isn't so hot either. They're both hideous, and I guess I understand party loyalty, although Gardner would be doing better for the Republican brand in Colorado to try to dissociate that from the Trump campaign, because the Trump campaign is to an actual presidential campaign in the same sense as Trump University is to a real university. It's all a scam, and we now see with this guy from Breitbart he brought over to run the campaign, they know they're going to lose, but he's going to maintain his personal brand, which is all he's ever had. He's long been out of actually doing something real, like real estate. And they're going to launch some Trump network, probably in his concession speech where he claims that the only reason he lost by 15 points was because the election was rigged and blah, blah, blah. But he's announcing Trump Network, and he'll continue to pick the pockets of that 10 or 15% of the population who is gullible enough to go along with him. And like a lot of demagogues of the past, Charles Coughlin from the 1930s and many others, he's addressing real complaints that real people have, but he's just lining his pockets from them rather than genuinely trying to do something to help them. For Salazar, I think it's a huge signal for the election. At the sort of the high level of sophisticated Republicans who are thinking, oh, I don't really like her, but Trump's horrible, but, and actually Bill, I didn't really like him, but he really wasn't so bad. He wasn't completely crazy. He wasn't a Marxist, unlike the Bernie wing of the party. And so, but what's Hillary going to be like? Because she's not a woman of conviction. The Salazar thing is an important signal to them. Well, who's going to be actually doing the day-to-day work in the second Clinton administration? It'll be more people like Ken Salazar and less who may be on the left, but they actually like things that are functional, as opposed to the more sort of Marxo-theoretical wing of the party.
Marxo-theoretical. Ed, you always get a great segue from David, so congratulations on that. Specifically this one, do you think there's any advantage for Gardner to have come out and said anything about even for Donald Trump? I mean, he didn't have to mention it. Is there an advantage there for any part of that to him to say that?
I think, and I'm not sure he did this, I think the advantage is to be able to criticize Hillary. And for someone like Cory Gardner, who's clearly shown that he does not like Donald Trump, to come out and say this is almost a way of saying Hillary is such a horrible candidate that, oh my gosh, I'm going to suck it up and I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. But still, this wasn't a high-level, way to do that. I mean, it wasn't even a, I'm going to vote for Trump, but I really hope he would get off this issue and he would concentrate on these 3 issues. Like, you could almost have sent the signal like, I will back you, but please listen to common sense and what we want you to do here in the Senate. I don't know this is it. This was just kind of a grin and bear it, and, well, he's not Hillary. Congrats. On the Ken Salazar thing, though, I do think there is a little bit of a narrative that's been misappropriated on this. People are saying, oh, look, this is going to line Salazar up for a big position in the cabinet. I don't think it's going to do that at all. This lines Ken Salazar up for his run for governor in Colorado in 2018 is what this does. I mean, the guy's already served in the cabinet. He's not going back there. He's not going back to the Senate. And what he's doing here is this last act where he can show once again he's has an executive style position. This isn't an executive position, but he's running the show and putting her cabinet in place. And that's the last feather in his cap. He can come back to Colorado and say, I've been a senator, I've run an agency, I've helped out the president. I'm ready to be your governor. I think you're going to see his move toward that very quickly after the cabinet is seated.
So Ian, Ed brings up a good point. Which way do you think it's going to go when you look at Salazar, especially 2 years from now? Is this bolstering his run for governor, or is this another entree into a D.C. career?
I think either are totally possible. Ed's got a lot of great points. I mean, Ken Salazar is an incredibly talented person. He's an icon in the Colorado Democratic Party. He's an icon for the state of Colorado. I mean, Salazar and Colorado go hand in hand out there in the world. Ed's right. He already served in the Interior, so it doesn't seem like he would just want to do a tour of other secretarial cabinet posts. So I'm not sure he would go back to D.C. to do that. He could be chief legal counsel. I mean, he is a very talented attorney as well. That'd be a great role for him. But, I mean, everybody knows that his name's been thrown around as a gubernatorial candidate, you know, after Hickenlooper's term is up for quite a while. And I'd be pretty surprised if he didn't end up running. On the Gardner thing, though,
sure.
I mean, I've just got to get some
absolutely.
off my chest here a little bit.
It was a 2 for a quote.
You know,
go for it.
Cory Gardner spent a lot of time when he was running against Mark Udall sort of shifting and changing and mealy-mouthing around positions and finding a way to say one thing to one audience and a different thing to a different audience and get himself elected. Good for him. Unfortunately, at this state of the game, I, for the life of me, cannot figure out why he waited this long. Trump has mocked a reporter with disabilities. He insulted a Gold Star family, repeatedly picking fights with them in public, insinuating that the mother of a slain American soldier could not speak because she was told not to by her husband because she was Islamic. He told a crowd of people that they should use Second Amendment solutions against his political opponent, and he encouraged the Russian Federation to commit cyber warfare against the United States of America. And then he got Cory Gardner's endorsement in that order. I think it's preposterous that he would even come out and say it now. It makes no sense for a guy who seemed to have pretty good political instincts during his run in 2014 to turn around and at this stage of the game, when Trump has done all these horrible things and said all these horrible things, and he is just tanking in the polls, guys like Mike Kaufman have to wonder, where's their cover when Cory Gardner's endorsing this guy?